The internet is not what it used to be. Gone are the days of simple web pages, as now we have to deal with algorithms that are controlling information and user data. Algorithms are the best censor gatekeepers you could possibly produce because they're very well hidden. There's really nothing that can be done about them, since every company who develops algorithms also has intellectual property rights, which means no one is allowed to look into how it works and see if it's fair or not. Even government agencies don't have a chance of checking an algorithm, so they wouldn't know if the algorithm works in a fair and balanced way, or if it works in a very one-sided way, which they do. The more algorithms that come from our internet sources or whatnot, no matter how many ways of censoring things there are online, people will continue finding their own methods in order to communicate among themselves. We keep the internet fairly free for now, but what's going to happen was always going to happen. Big structural cyber attacks have been on the rise. In recent months, we've seen a spike in these types of hacks, which are not irregular, but rather more common than ever before. And it's because this is when hackers strike their biggest targets. Big corporations, platforms, government websites, etc. Now, you might think that all these random glitches happening across our planet happen without any connection to each other, with Iran afflicted by some difficulty as well as Canada being hacked too. Yet they're actually connected to one event. An attack against every single target at once. These are preparation attacks. We believe there's basically going to be an internet shutdown event where such structural cyber attacks will happen that for most of the planet, the entire World Wide Web will come crashing down, and we won't have access to 80 to 90% of all services, because everything now is internet-based. Now, this wouldn't just be an unfortunate coincidence. It would actually be part of a planned attack by someone with very specific goals in mind. They plan on completely restructuring how we use the net. Imagine the largest country you know, then multiply it by 1 million. The internet is now being called the digital entity, with every human on Earth needing to have an online passport before they can access this new land, and with their credentials accessible for all to see. What will happen? It has been tried before, but countries up until now have fought against too much control of the internet, so we haven't seen any of these lofty ambitions come true yet. However, a digital citizenship may soon be required in order to access it, something that would increase security as well as provide more opportunities for people across borders. Imagine a world where every movement is tracked and monitored by the government. They will know where you are, what your activity is like, and who you're chatting with. And they'll have control over every aspect of the internet that those movements take place in. Your private life online may be a thing of the past as soon as this year. All your movements from now on will already be tracked by centralized power, which can then track everything about it, including names, for example, to make sure only approved content reaches people's screens. The internet will be the new central government with everything happening on it. The internet is not safe. In an effort to prevent future attacks, some government officials are proposing that we shut down the currently open internet and replace it with a more tightly regulated system where only those who have been verified can access information online. The goal would be for this new system to increase security while also helping law enforcement agencies catch criminals faster by cutting off routes of communication they need in order to operate anonymously online. We expect this event to happen. It might be sooner, it might be later. This will be the worst attack of its kind. And it's coming soon. The last year has been a practice run for what we're about to experience. ATMs won't work. Devices with internet access will be rendered useless, and our society as a whole will spiral out of control in less than 2 minutes. Do you ever wonder what life would be like without the internet? But here's the good news. Tim Berners-Lee, the guy who invented the concept of the World Wide Web, is working on a new internet where users will have 100% control over their personal data. It would be encrypted in a way so only you could access it. And there are no middlemen involved, so your privacy isn't at risk anymore. You're finally free to use online services without feeling guilty for sharing too much about yourself. So this guy and his team, they've been working tirelessly for years now on this new internet. They know this is coming, and they will launch this very soon. And it will become a new revolution. But the old internet might go down before this revolution starts, which would cause an interruption in everyone's lives due to lack of access. There are many outcomes for this event, and we can't tell you which one will happen. We don't know whether it'll be a big boom or spread slowly across the world. North America might see an attack first while Europe is attacked second, or vice versa. But it is going to happen.
This is changing the world. Some could say the change has already happened. They've got lists about everybody. They've got lists, more lists than Santa Claus. And you're on all of them. You have been hacked. But this is coming, and it's coming quickly. These are the things that nobody wants us to know, but everybody needs to know. We wouldn't know about any of this if people weren't willing to take risks to tell us, the public, what is being hidden from us. Whenever a great institution, a great power, a great government is embarrassed or their policies are called into question in a way that challenges their power on a fundamental level, right? Not at the edges, not a way they can easily change, but something that goes right to the heart of what they claim in authority is that belongs to them and them alone. They say these people are traitors.
Do you think he's a traitor?
I know he damaged the country, and the Obama administration will deal with it.
I've got to be careful here, Major, because Mr. Snowden is under indictment. He's been charged with crimes, and I can't weigh in specifically on this case at this point.
You think Edward Snowden was a traitor in revealing that?
I can never condone what he did. You know, he stole millions of documents. And the great irony is the vast majority of those documents had nothing to do with American civil liberties, privacy, or anything affecting us here at home. They were about information we had vis-a-vis China, Russia, Iran, others.
If I am a traitor, as these generals and presidents and all these figures say, the John Kerrys of the world, who is it that I betrayed? The information that I revealed didn't go to the Chinese, it didn't go to the Russians, it didn't go to the Brazilians, it didn't go to the French. It went to American journalists, right? That all made an independent editorial determination. Not just this is what some crazy guy at the NSA thought the world needed to know. Not just Americans, but everyone needed to know. But what the newspapers thought the world needed to know. This is why we have a free press in open societies. The whole reason they exist is to challenge the monopoly on information held by the most powerful and influential members of our society. The only things we know about the worst things they've done is because someone took a risk to tell us. And if telling the public about things of vital democratic importance, right? The boundaries of your rights, the kind of world that you live in, is now treason. It's the act of a traitor. That means the government considers the public the enemy. And if that's the case, that's the side that I want to be on. This isn't about names. This isn't about programs. This isn't about law. The problem is deeper. It is structural. We, our generation, is witnessing the greatest redistribution of power in civil society since the Industrial Revolution. What does that mean? Exciting words, right? How did it happen? A generation ago, surveillance was extremely expensive. Every government had to spend extraordinary sums, amounts of money, to track individuals. To know somebody's location, just their location, required teams of officers, both in buildings and out on the streets, that were working across many different shifts. Today, that dynamic is reversed. One guy sitting in front of a desk, in front of a monitor, in the air conditioning, can now track with precision unimaginably large numbers of people. And this is for the first time in human history that this is really possible, both technically and financially, for both governments and corporations. Start to not just see what an individual is doing, but for the mass of the public. And from the things they see, without even using human eyes, but electronic ones, to start to collate, to collect, index, and save nearly complete records of all of our lives, all of our daily activities. It doesn't matter whether you're a criminal, it doesn't matter whether you're an innocent, because under these regimes of bulk collection, as they call them, or mass surveillance, as the public calls them, things are collected in advance of suspicion, just in case they think it's interesting later on. And they say, well, if we don't read these things, if we simply collect them, it's not a violation of your rights, because a human can look at it, a machine. The idea of an unconsidered thought, the youthful indiscretion, a forgotten mistake, the picture of us drinking.
This guy's a traitor, a treasonist,